course we can afford it. Andy Puzder is with us, former CKE Restaurants and CEO and author of The Capitalist Comeback. Andy, it seems to be, look, the world is going to come to an end unless we do this. And of course we're going to afford to do this because we don't want this. Have I got it right?
Yeah, it sounds right. But I'll tell you, I'd be a lot more convinced by these, by people like Senator Harris or Cory Booker or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, if they were actually proposing things that we could accomplish that would reduce carbon emissions, such as greater use of natural gas, nuclear energy, the kind of things that really would make a difference and that we could share with other parts of the world to reduce their carbon emissions as well. I think what Senator Harris is talking about, yeah, I don't agree with her on much, but I don't think she's an idiot. I think she knows that this would be too expensive to implement, so she doesn't want to talk about what it would cost, number one. Or number two, she realizes it's just a political stunt to try and attract the gullible, and that she's never going to have to deal with the issue of how much it costs. But I don't think realistically she can ignore it if she's going to try and pursue this seriously.
There is a serious alternative to the Green New Deal to deal with climate change, and that is a carbon tax. And that's being put forward by a variety of, sometimes even conservatives. What would you say to a carbon tax?
I'd say, number one, it's a bad idea. I hate it when the government comes in and tries to change. The government never really understands when it tries to impact the economy where the impacts are going to go. That's what happened with the S&L crisis back in the 80s. It happened again with the financial real estate bubble collapse back in 2008. All we need to do is focus on fuels that don't produce a lot of carbon emissions, like natural gas, again, and nuclear energy. These are widely available. They would really significantly reduce the problem. They wouldn't change. We wouldn't have to switch from a capitalist economy to a socialist economy, which is what the Green New Deal really contemplates. But we could solve the problem if that's actually what they wanted to do. It's not what they wanted to do. They're just trying to get some political gains out of this.
Okay, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez announced that nobody on her staff would make less than $52,000. Salaries, that includes interns, and salaries would top out at $80,000 a year. That would be for her chief of staff. Is that kind of socialism, redistribution in practice on Capitol Hill?
Well, you know, she's not facing the kind of problems a business would face. A business couldn't start out employees at $52,000 a year and let their good employees go by capping their salaries at $80,000 a year. They'd be out of business very quickly. Now, she can do this. She's using taxpayer dollars. They're not dollars she generated. She can allocate them however she likes. The problem's going to be, and she had a tweet where she said, what the real problem here is that people leave the public sector, they leave government service, and they get these big salary jobs with lobbyists. We're going to address that, you know, domino effect, sounding like she actually knew what she was talking about. But when you look at it, if you're paying your starting employees a very high salary, when people come in inexperienced, they want experience so that eventually they can leave and get these higher paying private sector jobs. So when you raise the salary for those people, I'm sure they're very happy about it. But when you top them out at $80,000, what you're saying is, if you can make more than $80,000 in the private sector or in another congressional office, you should get another job. And I think the median salary for upper-level congressional employees is about $155,000, which means in other offices you could make $155,000, maybe $200,000 a year. So what she's really doing is exacerbating the problem she's trying to prevent. She's sending more people into the private sector.
Andy Puzder, you're all right. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate your logic.
Thanks,
we like that. Thank you. Now this. MSN